Well, we're down to
So yeah,
about
you never know.
we're down to just about 12 minutes before we have to start wrapping up. Barbara, you got questions still? Is she still with me?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
Yeah, you mentioned that sometimes that you meditate ahead of time, and I'm wondering when you go on investigations, do you want information about the place prior to your being there, or do you prefer going in without any preconceived notions or history of the place?
That's never really mattered to me, one way or the other. I mean, I guess for when you're investigating with a group of people, it's always fun not to have the information if you feel like you need the validation or they need the validation, that you can go in and then be right. But to me, that's just kind of an ego thing, and I really don't feed on it. So it doesn't matter to me whether I know something or not. I've gone to places that I know are haunted and not gotten anything. And we'll be walking through, you getting anything, Gypsy? You getting anything? I'm like, no, nobody's home. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. And that happens. I mean, not every haunted location is active 24/7. You're not always going to be able to contact. You're not always going to be able to communicate. And, I either get something or I don't. And it really has nothing to do with, for me anyways, it doesn't have anything to do with the history on the place. It either happens or it doesn't happen. And I don't control that. They do. So that's why I say it doesn't matter if it's day or night. It either happens or it doesn't. And fortunately, I mean, for me, more times than not, something happens. But I think it's because I go in with respect and love, and I get good results because of my approach to it. But not always. I mean, the Abbey out in Colorado is a very haunted location. That's another day or night place. And I've walked through there and not felt a thing. Doesn't mean that it's not haunted. It just means there's no activity at this time,
right. You
So,
can go to a place one time, not get anything. You go again, and you might get stuff.
yeah,
They're there and they talk on their time, not just because you're
that's right.
there trying to get something.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They don't always do command performances.
Right. Right.
Have you ever gone to a place where you just walked to the front door and said, no, I'm not going in there?
Yes, absolutely. And that doesn't happen very often. But it's again, when my guides are only going to tell me there's negativity if it's a problem. They're not going to tell me if like Waverly Hills, for example. We know there's negativity there. We know it exists. My guides didn't tell me that I shouldn't go in because the negativity that was there didn't pose a threat. If it doesn't pose a threat to me, then I don't have to worry about it and I can go ahead and proceed. But occasionally they're like, there's a threat, you shouldn't be there. Don't do it. Like the cemetery that I went to, there was a threat there. And I had no business not listening, and I ended up in trouble because of it. So those experiences that I've had along the way and working closely with my guides has really taught me a lot about listening to them. Because when I don't, I end up in trouble, and I'm not looking for trouble. So, yeah, if I come across a place that, they say no, it's no. And I've traveled 5, 6, 7 hours by car to get a no, and had to accept that no, for my own safety. I'm like, I'm sorry, but they won't let me go in. I can sit outside, but it's not very often. Not very
Mhm.
often.
Are these residential areas or are they public areas?
Both.
Both. Oh,
Both.
okay.
Mhm. Yep.
Well,
Absolutely both.
it's hard to imagine that any residential area would be that negative, but I guess there are several.
They're out there. Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
Do you
there
think the
there was
negativity is human based or living based,
no,
or is it
no,
mostly
no.
okay?
Not that I've encountered. I don't mind talking to a grumpy old man who's mad because he's got these people living in his house. I mean, I can deal with that all day long. I kind of like grumpy old men, to be honest with you. I worked in a nursing home. I mean, they were all grumpy old men. I loved them, you know. I mean, I'm not going to lie. They loved me. You know, we got along just fine. But no, the human ones, I don't have any. I've never had any issues with. It's the non-human entities, and they're out there. And I lived actually at the base of an Indian burial mound for about 8 years. And I had a lot of experiences in that place that gave me a very healthy respect for demonic activity. And it's not something I wish to encounter. It's not something that I necessarily fear. It's just not something I wish to encounter at this point in time in my life. And I'll put it out there like that, because there may come a day where I'm willing to go up against them, but right now it is not that time. But the Native Americans used to actually use these entities to protect their sacred lands, to protect their burial mounds. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's kind of a yin and yang thing. And they most definitely exist. They have their place, and I mean, like I said, the one that I dealt with in my own home for 8 years tore apart my family, made my son struggle with things no one should ever have to deal with. I should really write a book. So yeah, and because of that experience that I had, is why I listen now. You know, if there's something of a threat, I don't want an attachment. I don't want to deal with that right now. I mean, I'm good.
Oh yeah. Well, I was thinking that, you know, Colorado, northern Utah is where Skinwalker Ranch is, and yeah, I mean, that's kind of very negative type of spirit.
Absolutely. They got a series out now too. I'm all over that. I got that recording. I haven't started watching it yet, but I'm recording it. And that's another thing. See, that's where that crossover kicks in, because you have paranormal activity that is you know, like with the ghosts and the people that, you know, have been incarnated. And for me, I mean, I love that stuff. That's great. These are people. I can relate to that. You know, but something with like 3 legs and 2 heads is just not in my game. I think that there's a lot of crossover, you know, whether it's aliens or interdimensional creatures, or, you know, I don't know what's going on at Skinwalker Ranch, but there's a lot happening out there. And I'm not in a hurry to get there, but I'll watch the show.
I often wonder what would happen if a psychic visited there, because I don't think they've had one yet up there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know.
Or why it's only limited to that ranch.
Well, you know, I mean, I think, like I said, personally, I think that there's more going on there than meets the eye. I think it's more than just ghosts. It very well could be interdimensional. It could be alien. There's obviously a lot of Native American things happening. I mean, I think it's like paranormal soup. You know, I don't think it's just one thing going on. I think it's a plethora of things going on. And somebody should probably check. I mean, are there like ley lines going through that property?
No idea.
Yeah, you know, because, I mean, you know, you look at, like, you know, these energy spots on the planet, and sometimes they're just attracted to where those ley lines intersect. You know, so, I mean, it could be that. I know in this area in particular, you know, like my house has underground rivers going underneath my house. I didn't know that when I bought the house, but I found out. There's springs going down the hillside here, and my neighbors, when they built that house, they had to put in what do they call it, the rocks and stuff all the way around
Right.
to drain the water. And, they say they're attracted to the water too, the rivers and stuff, because it's like a conduit. So, there's a lot of things in nature that can provoke these experiences as well. So who knows what's going on that ranch? Should we go, Barb? Should we go down there and check it out?
Yeah, definitely.
You want to? You want to go?
We-
Yeah. Really?
I don't think they'll let us on.
Probably have a better chance getting on that than we would Area 51.
yeah.
Hey, two little old ladies like us, we just got lost. We're sorry.
Oh. Oh. All right. Well, we're down to like 4 minutes. Jeff, did you have any question or anything?
I did want to point out one thing just before we went on the air. Barbara, you said that Pluto's in retrograde. What would that imply for us to know?
That the energy for as far as things getting more intense are going to start to squeeze a little bit more. So anytime you have,
flame?
yeah, that's my neighbors next door.
Okay, just making sure.
So when you have Pluto going forward, it's kind of moseying through Capricorn, so Earth signs are going to be in a little bit better shape. But then it's starting to go stationary, and now it's going to go retrograde, which means it's going to start again. People are going to start feeling a little bit more squeezed, a little bit more confined.
We're not feeling that way at all right now.
No.
So there you go.
So the pressure is going to be a little bit more. Isn't that lovely?
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How long is that going to last?
Till October.
Maybe
It'll be a while.
Maybe something else will come by though, and kind of like.
Oh no, this is gonna
It won't
rear its little ugly head until next year sometime.
Wow.
Hopefully, we'll start opening stuff back up in June at least, because I'm hearing May is going to be gone.
All right, we got
Yeah.
2 minutes. Gypsy, I want you to go ahead and give out all your information where people can contact you, follow you, and all the good stuff.
Well, I actually say, just look me up on Facebook. You can find all kinds of links to my website at gypsymoonmagic.com there. But Facebook's a great place to get a hold of me, to follow me. And you can certainly message me. My inbox gets a little overwhelmed, but I try to get into it and get around to it all. So if you have any paranormal questions or thoughts or, concerns that you'd like to discuss, Facebook's definitely a great place to do that.
All right. Let's see. Okay, we're down to just a couple of minutes. Next week, I'm working on like a special guest show. It may or may not happen, so we'll just have to wait and see who we have next week. So, Gypsy, I want you to stay on till we're off, and we'll talk with you for a minute after that.
Sure.
And so, Barbara, you guys, Jeff, got anything before we start the countdown here?
Keep washing your hands.
Yep. Happy Beltane in a
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
everybody take care of yourselves. Mind what you're doing. Wash your hands. Keep social distancing. It's working.
It's working, huh? All right. With that, we're going to run now. So this is Henry Foister,
Jeffrey Gould.
And Barbara Duncan.
and we will see you next week at the same time. So good night, everybody.
Good night.
You've been listening to the Paranormal View on the ParaX Radio Network. Join us again next week at the same time for more of the Paranormal View.